all blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. This is the ISUPK, Israelite School of Universal and Practical Knowledge, started out of 1 West 125th Street, Harlem, New York. This is for all blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans. You know, if you're not in ISUPK, you are not in the truth, man. You're not learning the truth according to the Bible, right? And today's topic is Christ came for his people, right? Everybody wants to claim that Christ came for who? For who so loved the world, for the world, right? Because of John 3:16, everybody getting it tatted and whatnot. Come on. Because of John 3 and whatnot, but we're gonna start right. We're gonna start Matthew's chapter 1, verse 1. All right. You got it. All right. We're gonna get the lineage of Christ, right? Which just shows you that Christ did have a father. He had to come through the seed of who? Seed of David. In order to know that he's going to be the leader of Israel. He had to come through the seed of David, and through this lineage, we're going to find out whether where his seed came from, right? Who his father was, right? Go ahead.
Book of Matthew, chapter 1, verse 1.
Go ahead.
The book of the generation of Jesus Christ, the son of David, the son of Abraham.
The son of what?
The son of Abraham.
Right, the son of David, right? The book of the generations, right? The book of the generation of Yahushua Mashiach, who is Jesus Christ, right? The son of David, the son of David. It's very important that it says that first too. That because out of David's seed shall his kingdom come, shall shall Christ come, right? The son of Abraham. Keep going.
Verse 2. Abraham begat Isaac, and Isaac begat Jacob.
Right. Abraham begat Isaac, and then Isaac begat Jacob, right? Abraham, Isaac, Jacob, right? Which was what? The covenant given to, right? The covenant was given to Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, right? Keep going.
And Jacob begat Judas and his brothers.
Right, Judas and his brothers, right? Skip down to verse 16.
Verse 16. And Jacob begat Joseph.
Right.
The husband of Mary.
Of who?
The husband of Mary.
Go ahead.
Of whom was born Jesus.
Right. Now let's skip me down to verse 21.
Verse 21. And she shall bring forth a son, and thou shalt call his name Jesus, for he shall save his people from their sins.
Right. And she shall bring forth a son, and thou shalt call his name Yahushua. Yahushua meaning what? The deliverer, right? Because the deliverer, why? Because for he shall save his people from their sin.
That's right.
That's why. His people, right? Who are his people? Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, right? So-called, right? If you are part of one of the lost, of one of the 12 tribes, if you are in one of the 12 tribes, if your father comes from the lineage of a so-called Black, Hispanic, and Native American, then you are a so-called you are Israelite according to the Bible. If your father came through the slave ships, right, and was in bondage, in hard bondage in America, right, you are the descendant of Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, right? give me Matthew's 10 and 5. Right? We're gonna find out who his people were, right? Since everybody wants to claim how Christ came for everybody, right? When it just says Matthew's 1 and 21, and she shall bring forth a son, and thou shalt call his name Yahushua, for he shall save his people, his meaning possessive, right? His people from their sins, right? Now let's see who he came for. Go ahead.
Come on, book of Matthew, chapter 10, verse 5. These 12 Jesus sent forth and commanded them, saying.
Right. Now Christ is giving his disciples an order, right? He's giving them instructions, right? These 12 Yahushua sent forth and commanded them, saying, go ahead.
Go not into the way of the Gentiles.
Go what?
Go not into the way of the Gentiles.
Go what?
Go not into the way of the Gentiles.
Oh, but I thought Christ came for everybody. Keep going.
And into any city of the Samaritans enter ye not.
And enter ye not into any city of the Samaritans, right? Go ahead.
Okay. Verse 6. But go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
Right. But go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel, right? But go now. This is how but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel, right? Why is it saying, but go rather to the lost sheep? Go ahead.
Yes, so basically saying, go rather. And look, when you go to these cities, you're not there for those actual Greeks, those white people, those heathens. You're there for the people who are Israel but lost their identity.
Right.
Come back to who they are.
Right, because back then, in the city of the Samaritans, that's where the northern kingdom would be, which would be the mainly the so-called Mexicans, the so-called Gadites, the northern, that would be the northern kingdom, right? That's where the Samaritan, that's where we were dwelling in before we were kicked out, right? And to show you proof, give me 2 Kings. Where should we start? Start at 2 Kings chapter 17, verse 22.
Okay. Book of 2 Kings, chapter 17, verse 22. For the children of Israel walk in all the sins of Jeroboam.
Of who?
Jeroboam.
Right. Not of their God, but of Jeroboam. Go ahead.
Which he did. They departed not from them.
Go ahead.
Verse 23. Until the Lord removed Israel out of his sight.
What?
Until the Lord removed Israel out of his sight.
Go ahead. How do you do that? Go ahead.
As he has said by all of his servants, as he has said by all of his servants, the prophets, the prophets. So was Israel carried away out of their own land into Assyria unto this day.
Right, out of their own land into out of their own land to Assyria unto this day. Right, keep going.
Verse 24. And the king of Assyria brought men from Babylon, and from Kahat, and from Ava, and from Hamath, and from Servaim, and placed them in the cities of Samaria.
Of where?
Of Samaria.
Of where?
Of Samaria.
Keep going.
Instead of the children of Israel.
Of who?
Instead of the children of Israel.
Right. So all these other nations, the Most High put them instead of us. Right? We were kicked out. Right? We were dwelling in the city of Samaria. Right? Which Christ said not to go. Why? Because all these heathens were living there. Right? Now let's go back. Right? Now let's go back to read verse 6 again. Start at 5 again.
Book of Matthew, chapter 10, verse 5. These 12 Jesus sent forth and commanded them, saying, go not into the way of the Gentiles.
Right.
And into any city of the Samaritans enter ye not. but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
Right, but go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Who's the lost sheep of the house of Israel? Blacks and Hispanics. We're the ones who are lost. We are those sheep that are lost. We are them. We're the ones that don't know who our Father is. We don't know our own law. We don't recognize our own law and our own promises that we made with the Most High, our covenant that we made with the Most High. You know what we recognize? We recognize whoredom. We recognize how much you can get by selling this brick in the street, or how much we can what what else we recognize? We recognize America's independence. We recognize 4th of July. We recognize that what America got freedom. But where were you during 4th of July? Where were we at? That's how lost we are. We celebrate a holiday that was never for us. In the same time that they were making in the same time that they were making their own laws, right? In the same time that they were saying all men are created equal, we were picking cotton. We were being lynched. Our heads were being decapitated and spread it out just so it's just to push the fear in you to never raise your chin against against the oppressor. So that's what they did. That's how we became lost. We became lost because we favored these other nations rather than our own. We love their culture, their holidays. Not only that, but their army, right? Their army, their whatever they have to offer for you, right? Whether it be for so-called Mexican papers, get you legalized in this country, right? Or a job where you have to wear a suit and a tie, right? Whether it be one of those things, you become a traitor to your own people because you love America on what they offer for you. What does Ecclesiastes 7:7 say? A gift oppression makes a wise man mad, but a gift destroys the heart. A gift destroys the heart. When you get the gift that America offers you, which is secure, you become a coward. It destroys your courage, man. It destroys that thing that makes you a man. You become weak because you love being secure under the oppressor. You love what they offer. You love what they give you, right? Give me First Maccabees, I believe chapter 1 verse 11, right? On chapter 1 verse 11.
The book of First Maccabees, chapter 1 verse 11. In those days went there out of Israel wicked men,
right,
who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen.
Right, and that's your religious leaders right there, right? Those wicked men, your religious leaders, they are wicked for even thinking that you can join with these other nations, man. They're thinking that you can find what? Go ahead, pick on where he left off.
Who gave them
read that from the top, verse 11.
Verse 11, 13. In those days went out of Israel wicked men, who persuaded many, saying, let us go and make a covenant with the heathen,
right,
that are round about us. For since we departed from them, we have had much sorrow.
Man, look, and at the end, you're gonna find out just the way the Native Americans, right? So the so-called Native Americans found out after having so many things, after having so many Thanksgiving with them, you're gonna drop dead because they're poisoning your food. because they're trying to destroy us, man. You can't come together and think that you're gonna get along with them. Can the lion get along with the zebra or the giraffe? Hell no. Like they naturally hate us from the womb. They've been hating us. So why should you join with a nation, right? A race of people that are trying to exterminate us? Go ahead, Prod.
Like if I could, what you brought out about the Native Americans is so heavy, because when they tried to, seek succor and be friends with the white man, the white man broke over 100 treaties with the Native Americans. And so when we try to seek succor with them, you're trying to seek succor, like you said, like a zebra or like a gazelle seeking succor with a lion.
Right.
It's in their nature to kill you. So we take Juneteenth and say, they made Juneteenth a national holiday and think that, maybe white people aren't so bad. But the same day that they made Juneteenth a national holiday, they banned critical race theory. You know what I'm saying?
Man, that's why you can't trust right? You can't trust Paleface. Why? Because he speaks with fourth tongue. Everything that he says has a double meaning. You can't just agree with what he's gonna tell you, right? What did he say about the Mexicans? They're all rapists, right? What did Trump say about the Mexicans? That they're all rapists, drug dealers, right? That they're bringing in the drugs, right? When a brother was just swimming across, El Salvadorian, right, was swimming across the river with his child in his back and drowned. Why? Because he's trying to run from danger, man. He's trying to run from danger that's in El Salvador. There's so much danger. There's so much murder in El Salvador that he's trying to give his child a better life. What are the Mexicans doing in the fields? The Mexicans are feeding America. The so-called Mexicans are feeding America. They're picking the fruit, the vegetables, everything. They're making sure they feeds. So like America eats. But what do you call them? Illegal immigrants. What do you tell them? To get out. What does these white people say? Get out, right? Get out, this and that. You don't have papers. Let me see some document, right? When Arizona is Mexico still. You stole Arizona from the Mexicans, but yet you want to claim everything and then call it, you want to kill anybody that's living in the land and claim it yours and say what? We found it. Not only that, but you also want to say what? There was manifest destiny. That the Most High, that God, that their God gave them the power, right? Man, Christ didn't come for everybody, man. Christ came for his people, which are where? Let's go back to Matthew's 10 and read verse 6.
Okay. Matthew 10, verse 6. But go rather to the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
Right, but he went to the lost sheep of the house of Israel. Guess where he went? He went to the ghettos. He went to the barrios. He went to the slums. That's where he went. Go ahead.
Okay. Verse 7. And as ye go, preach, saying, the kingdom of heaven is at hand.
Right. The kingdom of heaven is at hand, man. Teach them about the kingdom of God, man. Teach them how to get right with the Most High, man. Teach them how to love one another, how to be brotherly with one another. Teach them how to stop the hate between blacks and Hispanics, man. Teach them that Israel, that Judah, that Israel and Judah need to come together, man. They need to be what? One stick. That they need to come together, because guess what will affect or will hurt our oppressor even more, or our enemies even more. When we come together, we're separate, when we're spread apart, when we're basically separate. Guess what you're doing? You're just giving him you're just basically not even damaging him. You're just giving him a couple of slaps. But what hurts more, an open hand or a closed hand? A closed hand, man. You want to hit him with some power, then come together and separate yourself from your enemy, man. And which is what Christ was doing here, teaching his people how to separate from, how to look for his, how to look. That's what he was teaching his disciples, how to look for God's chosen people, not just everybody, but his people, right? Give me Matthews 15 and 24.
The book of Matthew, chapter 15, verse 24. But he answered and said, I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
Right. Give me read verse 22.
Verse 22. And behold, a woman of Canaan came out of the coasts and cried unto him, saying, have mercy on me, O Lord, thou son of David.
Thou what?
Son of David.
Thou what?
Son of David.
Right. Thou son of David. Right. Go ahead.
My daughter is grievously vexed with a devil.
With a what?
A devil.
Right. So this woman, right, that came from Canaan, right, from the coast of Canaan, right, was begging Christ, right, our King Yahushua, for mercy, right? Go ahead, keep going.
Verse 23. But he answered her not a word.
But what?
He answered her not a word.
I thought Christ came for everybody, man.
He answered her not a
He
word.
didn't even answer this devil, right? He didn't even answer this woman, right? You would think that he would answer her, seeing how her daughter is vexed with the devil, with with a devil, right? Go ahead, with a demon, right? Go ahead.
And his disciples came and besought him, saying, send her away.
Right. Send what?
Send her away.
Right. His disciples, right? Which just lets you know how Christ was even teaching his men that this is not, she's not even with us, right? That's why Christ didn't even speak to her. Look, Salaki, sir, let's just send her away, sir. She over here crying after us, man. She getting annoying. Why don't you just, Salaki, sir, can you just send her? Go ahead.
For she crieth.
Going.
But he answered and said, I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
Right. Right. Read that one more time.
But he answered and said, I am not sent but unto the lost sheep of the house of Israel.
Right. But I am not sent unto that's why he didn't even answer her, because he's not sent for everybody, as you can see, right? Only a fool will be blind enough to not see this, man. It's just right in front of you, right? Christ, I am not sent, but, right? I'm not sent for you, but guess who I am sent for, right? I'm not sent for you, but guess who? Guess for who? For the lost sheep of the house of Israel, for my people who are destroyed, right? Keep going.
Verse 25. Then came she and worshipped him, saying, Lord, help me.
Right. Then she came and worshipped him. She over here what? Trying to give him a boot kiss. She over here trying to worship him, right? Keep going.
But he answered and said, it is not meet to take the children's bread and cast it to dogs.
Right. But he answered and said, it is not meet to take the children's bread and to cast it to dogs. What did Christ call her here? In today's term, and today's, right? What would be the perfect word to say that that Christ basically used, right? What is a female dog, right? What is a female dog? Go ahead. He called her a bitch, basically, right? That's what Christ called her. He called her a bitch, right? He called her a what? A dog, right? It is not meat to take the children's bread, right? It is not meat to take the children's bread and to cast it to dogs. Keep going.
And she said, truth, Lord. Yeah.
She said what?
Truth, Lord.
She said what?
Truth, Lord.
So guess what? She acknowledged that she was a dog, right? She knows that she is a dog, right? Go ahead.
Yet the dogs eat of the crumbs fall from their master's table.
You're right. And guess what? In today's time, you know, the roles are switched around, right? In today's time, we're the ones begging for crumbs. That's how destroyed we are, man. Blacks, Hispanics, and Native Americans, we beg for crumbs that fall from the slave master's table. Why won't you go and come back to the Most High? Why won't you join with your own people and not get crumbs, right? Not get crumbs, but actually get the whole kitchen, get the dish, get everything, man. You begging for crumbs when you celebrate 4th of July. That's a crumb. First of all, it's not even your crumb. It's your oppressors. Like that's none of yours, right? Like we weren't the ones, you know, we can't even kneel for the flag, first of all, when we see our people dying in the streets. What did Trump say, right? Trump said if they kneel on the national anthem or for the flag, what did he say? Out of his own words, he said, "Get that son of a bitch out of here," right? He's fired. Isn't that what he said?
Right.
Which just shows you that you can't have a voice in America, right? Even just to show, like, even just to fight for your own people, try to even have a voice, even lift up your chin. Guess what the guess what the oppressor does? Pushes your head down. He makes sure that when you are on your knees, you're begging for your what? For your life. Right? When you are on your back, you're begging for your life, crying out for who? For your mother, for help, anybody. Right? And guess what we do? We go out and march. We go out and march. We push to vote for more. Let's get those voting. This, and that. I just voted. Get a little pin. That's a crumb, man. That's a crumb. Why are you begging the oppressor, the same man that's killing you, to not kill you, man? Why don't you pray to the Most High that He kills off your enemy, man, the oppressor, the white man, who is the damn devil that the Bible speaks of, man?
That's right.
Why don't you pray for that instead of begging for mercy?